Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling when you absolutely have to sound like you've got it all together in English, but inside your head it's just chaos, like
Sure.
panicked pigeons.
Oh, absolutely. That frantic inner scramble while trying to look cool on the outside. Very familiar territory for many.
Yeah, me too. Just last week, actually. Big video call, international team, and bam. Simple question. Felt like a curveball. Outwardly, I think I looked calm.
But inside.
Inside, total meltdown trying to remember, like, the right verb tense. It's almost funny afterwards trying to recall grammar under pressure, but definitely not funny in the moment.
No, it's stressful. That need to project confidence when your brain feels like it's buffering that's a really common experience. A real tightrope walk.
Exactly. Which brings us right here to this deep dive. We want to unpack some real practical strategies, ways you can sound confident in English, even if you're wrestling those butterflies internally.
Like a shortcut.
Kind of. A shortcut to sounding more assured, yeah, without needing to achieve, total zen first. And we've got the perfect guide for this, our expert guest, a fantastic communication coach. Welcome.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Really looking forward to digging into this. It's a skill set that honestly can make such a difference.
So you're going to share this idea that sounding confident, it's not just something you're born with, right? It's more like a skill.
Exactly. It's a set of techniques you can learn. It's strategic. Less about raw bravery, more about knowing how to create that impression.
We're calling it your personal confidence illusion toolkit. Bit dramatic maybe, but it gets the idea across. Ready to kind of pull back the curtain.
Absolutely. It really boils down to understanding what looks and sounds like confidence to other people, and then, well, learning how to consciously use those specific techniques.
Okay, let's get into it. This confidence illusion toolkit. What's tool number one? Where do we start?
Right. So the first one might sound a little unconventional, but it's surprisingly effective. Power posing. But the key is doing it before the call or meeting. Privately.
Power posing. Okay, I've heard of this. Are we talking like staying on my desk like a superhero 5 minutes before I log on?
Light chuckle. Maybe not quite that dramatic, though, memorable. No, the idea is simpler. Just taking a minute or two beforehand, alone, to stand tall, shoulders back, adopt an open posture.
Okay.
It can actually create these subtle physiological shifts. You might genuinely feel a little more sort of assertive. Compose is like priming yourself.
Got it. So no office theatrics needed. Just a quick private moment. Okay, noted. What's next in the kit?
Next up is something seemingly simple, but powerful, using silence and pauses strategically.
Silence.
Yeah, see, when we're nervous, the instinct is often to rush, right?
Yeah.
To fill every gap with sound, any sound. Constant talking.
You'll see. My pauses usually involve a frantic mental search for the next word.
Exactly. And that rushing, or those nervous fillers, they actually signal nervousness. But a deliberate pause, that signals thought, control.
Okay, so how do you make a pause deliberate instead of just blanking?
It's a conscious choice. So before you answer a question, maybe take a small breath, just a beat. Collect your thoughts.
Okay.
Or, if you're making a key point, a tiny pause just before you say it adds weight. It gives you a second to focus, and it tells the listener, hey, I'm considering this carefully. What I'm about to say matters.
Right, so it's less deer in headlights, more thoughtful expert. I like that. But what if that pause feels like forever to me? When I'm the one speaking, it can feel really awkward.
That's a really common feeling. That internal clock speeds up when we're nervous, so silences feel longer than they are. And that's exactly where our next tool is brilliant. Killer filler phrases.
Killer filler phrases. Okay, I'm listening. What are these?
They're basically smart ways to buy yourself thinking time.
Yeah.
Much more polished than just or ugh. They keep you sounding engaged, thoughtful, even while your brain is catching up.
Give me examples. I need these in my back pocket.
Okay, sure. Things like, that's an interesting point. Buys you a second. Or, let me consider that for a moment. Very clear signal of thought. Or even clarifying questions. Just to clarify, are you asking about X or Y? Buys time and ensures you understand. Others like, that's a great question from my perspective. Or, I want to make sure I address that fully.
Right.
They all maintain that flow, project thoughtfulness, while you get your thoughts in order.
Let me consider that for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds miles better than my usual internal screech of, I have no idea what to say.
Exactly. It reframes the pause. Now, another really practical tool, the one key message hack.
Okay.
When you feel that pressure, especially in English, It's so easy to get tangled up trying to explain everything
Yeah.
perfectly, all the nuances, all the detail.
Absolutely. Information overload.
Right. So instead, before you even open your mouth, figure out what is the single most important thing I need to convey right now.
So boil it down. Instead of trying to give the whole complex picture when I'm flustered, just hit the main point.
Precisely. Focus your energy there. Get that one key message across clearly. Honestly, clarity and just getting the main point understood, that reads as much more confident than a rambling, technically perfect but confusing explanation.
Okay, focus on the core message. That simplifies things, reduces the mental juggling. I get that.
Yeah.
What's the last piece for this initial toolkit?
The final element for now is voice control. And don't worry, this isn't about needing singing lessons or anything.
Thank you. Okay.
It's really about three simple things. One, speak clearly, enunciate, don't mumble.
Right.
Two, moderate case, not too fast like you're nervous, not too slow like you're unsure. Find that middle ground.
Makes sense.
And three, this is subtle but important. Use downward intonation for statements.
Downward intonation. Okay, unpack that a bit. What does it sound like and why does it matter for confidence?
Sure. So when you make a statement in English, letting your voice pitch drop slightly at the very end signals certainty, conviction. If your pitch goes up at the end of a sentence, like this, it can sound like a question, even if it's not meant to be. It implies uncertainty, doubt.
Ah, I hear it. Like you're asking for approval or something.
Exactly. So saying, I think we should approve the budget, sounds hesitant.
Yeah.
But I think we should approve the budget with that slight downward tone at the end. That sounds much more assured, confident.
Got it. Stating versus questioning makes a difference. Okay, these are fantastic external techniques, really practical. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. What if I'm doing all this stuff, the pausing, the key message, the voice thing, but inside, I still feel like a total imposter, that feeling of not actually being confident? How do you deal with that gap?
That is such a crucial question, because that disconnect between the inside feeling and the outside projection is real. And it's important to first just, well, acknowledge that feeling is incredibly common.
Even for experienced people?
Oh, absolutely. Even for people who speak for a living. The key, I think, is a really fundamental mindset shift. You need to focus on communication, not perfection.
Focus on communication, not perfection. Okay? Easier said than done sometimes. My inner critic is loud. How do you actually do that?
Well, think about your main goal when you're speaking English, especially across cultures or in professional settings. Is it really to sound like a flawless native speaker using perfect grammar?
Probably not when I think about it. It's usually to get a point across or connect with someone or solve a problem.
Exactly. It's to connect with the other person and to get your message understood. That's the bridge you're building.
So it's okay if I make a grammar mistake.
Oh.
Or if my accent isn't perfect.
More than, okay, seriously, clarity and connection are valued way more than perfect grammar or a specific accent. Chasing some impossible standard of perfection just ramps up the anxiety and makes you sound less natural, less confident. Think about it, native English speakers. We use filler words, we pause, we restart sentences, we make mistakes all the time. So give yourself that same grace. Focus on, is my idea clear? Are they getting what I mean?
So shifting my focus from am I sounding stupid to is my message landing could actually take some of the pressure off.
Precisely. When your main goal becomes clear communication and connection, rather than judging your own performance, a lot of that internal self-doubt can actually start to fade. It changes the game.
Okay, I'm feeling, well, more equipped already. Would you be up for trying a quick demo, maybe a little role play so we can see these techniques in action?
Absolutely. Let's do it. It helps make it concrete.
Okay, so I'll be nervous, Alex. I'm in a team meeting. You're the manager. And you ask me about, let's say, Project Chimera, which has hit a snag.
Got it. Okay. Setting the scene. Manager Blair speaking. Alex, can you bring us up to speed on Project Chimera? We need to understand where we are. Host speaker, as nervous Alex, fast breathy, higher pitch. Project Chimera. Right. Yeah. So, well, it's been, a bit tricky. We've hit some challenges with the integration piece, but we're working on it. I think we should maybe have an update soon. Voice trails up uncertainly. Calmly. Okay, Alex, perfect portrayal of that nervous energy. Totally relatable. Now hit rewind. Take a breath. Remember that power pose you did earlier. Okay, now what's the one key message you need to convey right now about Project Chimera? Host speaker, as nervous Alex. Takes a visible breath, thinks. Okay, key message. We hit a problem, we have a plan, we'll be back on track. EOD. End of day. Excellent. Clear? Okay, I'm going to ask you again. This time, maybe use a little filler phrase first, like, that's a good question. Take a tiny pause, then deliver that key message. Clear voice, steady pace, downward tone at the end. Ready. Who's speaker? As nervous Alex. Okay, ready. Ish. Expert speaker. As manager Blair.
Alex, can you give us an update on Project Chimera? We need to know where things stand.
Host speaker. As nervous Alex. Takes a small, deliberate breath. That's a good question. Short pause.
Regarding Project Chimera, we did run into an unexpected technical snag earlier. However, the team's already mapped out a clear recovery plan, and we fully expect to be back on the original schedule by end of day today. Voice is clearer, pace moderated, tone drops firmly on today. Fantastic. Alex, that was night and day. Seriously, you sounded informed, composed, much more in control, confident. How did that feel to do? Host speaker. Normal voice.
Thanks.
Wow, it felt, surprisingly different. That little pause and just knowing I only had to deliver that one message. It massively lowered the internal panic. I wasn't trying to explain the entire technical issue or make excuses. It felt way more direct.
Yeah.
And more confident, actually. Exactly. That's the power of these tools. They give you structure, they give you focus when you're under pressure, and that structure and focus, that's what reads as confidence to others.
Okay, QuestPlorers, I really hope that little before and after gave you a concrete feel for how this works. My own internal panic meter definitely dropped during the after version. These tricks, they really are practical.
They are. And like any skill, Alex, the key is practice. Don't try to do everything at once. Pick one technique, maybe the strategic pause or the one key message hack, and consciously try it out next time you're speaking English. Then add another.
Right. So let's quickly recap those pro tricks for sounding confident, even when you're internally freaking out.
First, that power pose beforehand. Your private ritual.
Then, using strategic silence and pauses. Think contemplation, not blanking out.
Those killer filler phrases. Buying time like a pro.
Focusing on your one key message. Clarity over complexity, always.
And finally, basic voice control. Speak clearly, moderate pace, and that confident downward intonation on statements.
And underpinning it all, the big mindset shift. Focus on communication, not perfection.
Exactly. Be kind to yourself in the process. Notice the small improvements.
So here's your mission, if you choose to accept it. Pick just one of these tricks, just one, and try it. Next English conversation, presentation, meeting, even just practicing by yourself. Then please come back here, find the comment section and tell us. Which one did you try? How did it feel? How did it go? We genuinely want to hear about your experiences. And thank you so much for sharing this incredibly useful Confidence Solution Toolkit with us today. Really valuable stuff.
It was absolutely my pleasure. I really hope it helps people feel more empowered when they communicate in English.
And to all of you who joined us for this deep dive, thank you. If you found this helpful, give it a like and definitely subscribe to the deep dive so you don't miss our next exploration. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep sounding wonderfully confidently Euro.